Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I'm here to do my February book haul. Remember when I did my January book haul and I said I wasn't going to do another book haul for a while because I had so many books? So I have like 10 things here to show you. One of those things is just like a collection of comics, so I'm not counting each individual comic I bought. I don't know. I have like 10 things to show you, basically. That is the point. So we're just going to get started. I'm going to go through these kind of chronologically to when I bought them and explain to you a bit more about what they are. So yeah, let's just do this February book haul. Do you remember when I did a bookshelf tour? This changes like daily. Daily. First thing I have here you will have already seen like a few times I think by the time I post this, and that is Dying for the Rose by A. Anders. And this was sent to me by the author. He contacted me and asked if I would read his book in exchange for an honest review, and so he sent me this, and yeah. But basically this book is sort of like The Bachelorette. It follows a guy who is put on a show that's similar to The Bachelorette, and he's kind of not really taking it seriously. He doesn't really know why he's there, and then one day he stumbles across a dead body, and that was one of the former contestants on the show, and so there's obviously a lot more to this game show than previously meets the eye. Yeah, so that is where this book is from. It's really nice. It's kind of a nice copy, so yeah. Next up, some graphic novels and comics and stuff, and the first one is Saga Volume 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I read Saga Volume 1 last August and really enjoyed it, and I just haven't purchased the second volume, mostly because I was in London and it felt a little bit silly to buy graphic novels while I was gone because you read them so quickly. So I went to my local comic shop, which I absolutely love, and I'm so glad to be back near again, and I bought Saga. I cannot wait to read this. I think that it's going to be fantastic. I really love the first volume, and I've heard that they get like progressively better, so yeah. I might have already read this again by the time I post this. I don't know. I'm filming everything so out of order, and I'm pre-filming so much stuff because I'm going to be all over the place in March, so I may have already read this by the time I post this video. Probably. Next, I have a few single-issue comics to show you. So first up, I have 3 issues of a Doctor Who comic. I already had the first single-issue comic, and I got the second, the 4th, and the 5th. These are the 9th Doctor comics, which I was really interested in reading because I love the 9th Doctor, and I can't believe they finally made a 9th Doctor comic. That makes me so pleased in my heart. It also pleases this little guy. This little banana-wielding guy. He's so happy too. This series kind of follows Rose and Jack and the 9th Doctor, who are my favorite group that's ever been in the TARDIS, so I'm really happy to have these. I don't have issue 3 right now. They didn't have it at the shop when I went, so I'm going to go look again in the next couple of days, and if I can't find it, I'm going to order it online. But yeah, I cannot wait to finish reading these. I read the first issue, and it was fantastic. I also purchased issue 6 of Bitch Planet, and I read this last night, and I absolutely loved it. Like, there have been elements of the first 5 issues I've really enjoyed, and this 6th issue, like, it made me realize how passionate I could be about this series in the future and how much I'm really going to want to continue it. I just think it was their strongest one yet, and it really emphasized a lot of the points that they've been trying to make throughout the other issues. I just absolutely loved it. This was easily my favorite issue so far. Yeah, so I'm really glad I bought this. If you haven't started reading Bitch Planet, do it. The first 5 issues are in a trade paperback already, and you should go buy it. So good. And the last comic that I purchased I haven't actually read yet, and that is Mystery Girl, and this is issue number 1. And yeah, I just saw this. Sometimes when I'm at the comic shop, I find the first issue in a series that I haven't heard of, and I pick it up to see if I'm interested in reading more. This looked really, really interesting. This looked kind of different, and it also, I believe, takes place in London, and I've been missing London, so had to pick up this, and I'm very interested to see what this is all about. And I will let you know if I like it and I want to read more. Next up, we have another book that was sent to me by the author, and that is The Dragon's Blade, The Reborn King by Michael R. Miller. Yes, I was sent this book by the author in exchange for an honest review. I have not read it yet, but I am planning on reading it in the month of March at some point, and this is just a fantasy book. There are dragons, which I love. I'm a big fan of dragons. Basically, what I think this book follows is that at one point there were like dragons everywhere, and then there was some kind of transformation, and it made it turned all of the dragons into like human form, and then the king has to like re-come of age, and there's like fighting and the need to get to the Dragon's Blade to reclaim a throne. It just sounds like a lot of elements of high fantasy that I really, really love, especially dragons. And so I can't wait to read this, and it is just a beautiful cover. I really love the cover of this book. Next up, a couple of weekends ago, actually this may have been the first weekend in February. Yeah, it was. It was the first weekend in February. I went to one of my favorite places in New York City. I always like to go to Union Square with Janelle, and we always like to hit up Barnes & Noble for Funko Pops, and then we usually go over to Forbidden Planet and the Strand. Just one of my favorite places in the world. So while we were at Barnes & Noble, I did get a couple of pops. But while I was at Barnes & Noble, I also happened to pick up this book. This is We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I think a lot of people have been reading her book Americana right now. I have already read We Should All Be Feminists. I read it for a contemporary women's lit class last year and really, really loved it, and I've only had it kind of like as a PDF copy because of that class. So when I saw that it came in its own like individual little book, I had to have it. This is such a beautiful copy. It has these still flapped pages even though it's a paperback. And if you have not read this or watched the TED Talk that Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie did, watch it and read it. This is just so fantastic, and I'm so glad I have my own copy now. And also it's beautiful, so there's that. After I went to Barnes & Noble, we went over to the Strand, and my favorite thing to do at the Strand, this is always what I do. I never go in to find a specific book while I'm at the Strand. I like to go to kind of the mystery section, and I just look for hardcovers that are on sale because I found a couple of really fantastic books that way, because I think that you find books that you never would have heard of previously and you can buy them for really cheap and end up loving them. So yeah, that's my little spiel on the Strand. I never go in with an objective in mind, but I always come out with a couple of books that I end up loving that I probably never would have picked up. Although in this case, it was slightly different. I did find two books that were already on my TBR, and that made me really happy, but I was in the same section just looking for cheaper hardcovers, and so it just happened to be a lucky find this time. So the first book that I got at the Strand is The Wheelman, and this is by Duane, Schwerzinski? That's what we're gonna go with. I actually wanted to read this book because of another book that I found randomly at the Strand. It's The Mystic Art of Erasing All Signs of Death by Charlie Huston. And on Goodreads, there was like the list of books that other people have read because they read that book, and The Wheelman was on that list. So this had already been on my TBR. This just sounds kind of interesting. It's a really short book, and it's about an Irish getaway driver who falls in like with the wrong heist crew, and it sounds so up my alley, and I honestly cannot wait to read it. I'm also reading this in March, I believe. I believe it's on my TBR. It just looks so good, and it's so short, and I'm gonna get through it so quickly, and this was really cheap. Thank you, Strand. I love you. And the other book that I got at the Strand made me so excited because I have desperately wanted to read this book, and I'm so happy that I have it now, and that is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. People have talked so highly about this book, and I cannot wait to read it. This book is really, it has kind of an alternative format in that there are like pages like this with like evidence and stuff, because this is kind of a crime mystery thriller kind of book. Also, this book, I believe, comes with an app that you can connect to it, and you can kind of scan bits of the pages, and you can get more information through your phone. So I'm really interested to see how reading it is like with that element, but I have just desperately wanted to read this book, and I'm so glad that I have my own copy now, because this is a big hardcover that I absolutely love. I love the way it looks on my shelf, and it was so cheap. So I love the Strand. That's why it's my favorite bookstore in the world. I love the Strand. The next book I got is Scarlet by Marissa Meyer, and I got this book for Valentine's Day from Janelle because she knew that I really wanted to continue on with the Lunar Chronicles series. I have read the first book, Cinder, and this is the second book in that series. If you don't know what the Lunar Chronicles are, they are a series of sci-fi retellings. So Cinder is Cinderella, and the second book, Scarlet, is Red Riding Hood. I have heard, I think people mostly say that Cress is their favorite, but I've also heard a lot of people say that Scarlet's their favorite, so I'm very excited to continue on. These books are so beautiful. I'm so glad I got this one, and I get to continue on with the series because I was worried I was going to have to wait, and I didn't know when I was going to be able to buy more of them, so I'm so happy that Janelle bought me this. I'm so happy. And the last two books I have both came from the February Owl Crate box. There were 2 books in that box, which made me really happy. I think that that's really cool that they included 2 different books. And the first book was The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I have previously read another H.G. Wells book that, again, I'm not remembering what it is. I swear I've read one. But this is just a beautiful, beautiful edition. This will be a great way for me to read a bit more like classic sci-fi because I haven't read that much, and this was such a great book to come in that Owl Crate, and I'm so glad I have it now. And the final book that I have here is the main book that came with the February Owl Crate, and that is The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. I have heard both good things and bad things about this book. I kind of want to go into it not hearing other people's opinions as much now, just because I don't know if this is a book that I would traditionally enjoy, so I really want to just take my own kind of biases into the book when I'm reading it. But this is this is a sci-fi love story, because that's the box that it came in for Owl Crate. And it's about a girl who like starts just seeing the wrong things and places are kind of strange. And it's about love and stuff, and it's kind of sounding weird, but it has a beautiful cover, and I can't wait to read this and kind of form my own opinions about it. Okay, you guys, that is my February book haul. I bought way too many books, to be honest with you. I really, really did. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have purchased any books this month, let me know what your favorite was that you bought, and if you've read any of these, let me know what you thought of them. Am I correct in saying that Scarlet is one of people's favorites of the Lunar Chronicles? I'm not sure if I am. I think I am, but I don't know. If you haven't read Bitch Planet, go do it immediately. And I think that that is the bit of advice that I'm going to leave you on. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!